Okay. So I'll record the meeting and then send to her after the lesson. But you may tell her to keep on trying. Maybe she may be able to succeed.
No, Baba.
All right. So this is the question we have on the board. It's question number 3 from your textbook. So I'll be doing these questions while at the same time I'll want to do questions from Mukundi. She suggested other 2 important questions of which I would like to cover. So if she sent those questions today, we may cover these together with the questions she sent, or we'll do her question tomorrow. So otherwise, today we are focusing on the question we received, and it's these questions on the board, wherein question number 3, it says, if a plus 1 over a is equal to 4, we are required to determine a plus 1 over a squared. So the question is, how do we find that? How do we find a plus 1 over a all squared? So we have to use this information given up here. Already we are told that a plus 1 over a is equal to 4. So it means inside the brackets, we're going to substitute 4, because inside here we have a plus 1 over a, of which we know it's equal to 4. So we substitute 4 there, and then we'll have 4 squared, and we will get the answer that we're looking for. So let me do that so that you see how we attend to this. So it's a plus 1 over a all squared. So will be equal to, so now a plus 1 over a, we are given the value of this. We are told a plus 1 over a is equal to what? It's equal to 4. So it means where we have this, we can substitute what? We can substitute 4, and we have 4 squared. Therefore, the answer of this is equal to 16. And this is how we do these questions. So it's an important question of which I would want all of you to understand. The trick here is for using what is given. So a plus 1 over a, we are already given that is equal to 4. So therefore, it's just a matter of substituting. Where we have a plus 1 over a, we substitute 4, and then we'll have the answer. Is that first question clear to all of us? Is that first question clear to all of us?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, wonderful. So the approach we used on the first question is the same approach we're going to use on the second question. There's no difference. There's not much difference between this. On the second question, we are having a squared plus 1 over a squared. So we want to determine what will this be equal to. If a plus 1 over a is equal to 4, and if already we are also going to use the information given here that a plus 1 over a all squared is equal to that value we obtained there. So it means we'll need to use this information on the first question as well. So the start point for the second question will be to find a squared plus 1 over a squared first. We need to determine a squared plus 1 over a squared because it's not given up here. So how are we going to find that? We're going to find a squared plus 1 over a squared by using information from the previous question, where we have a plus 1 over a squared, which we can write let me write down here so that you can see. We have a plus 1 over a squared, which we are allowed to write as a plus 1 over a multiplied by a plus 1 over a. We just expanded this squared here. So that squared simply means that the bracket is repeating 2 times. So hence, this with a square, we can write as a plus 1 over a and a plus 1 over a. So after having that, the next thing will be to multiply these two brackets. So let's multiply these two brackets and see what we obtain. So if we multiply a and a, what do we get? We're going to get a squared. We are now answering the second question there. Yeah? So we are first expanding this, and then from there we compare what we obtained here with what we have here. So when we multiply a and a, we're going to get a squared like this, and then from there we multiply a and 1 over a. So a multiplied by 1 over a is the same as 1, because a and a, they're going to cancel each other and we're left with 1. And then plus 1 over a, when we multiply with a and a, they will cancel each other and we're left with 1. And then from there we multiply 1 over a and 1 over a. So it's 1 times 1, which is 1, and then a times a, which is a squared. So we are left with grouping the like terms now. So it means is a squared plus 1 over a squared plus 2, of which we know that a plus 1 over a squared, it's equal to what from the previous question, if you still remember? What is a plus 1 over a all squared? From the previous question, this is equal to what?
4.
It's equal to 16, né? Is this answer we obtained here. So therefore, this you must equate with 16, like this. And from there, you take 2 to the other side so that you're left with what you have from the second question. So we're going to have a squared plus 1 over a squared, which is equal to, then when you take 2 to the side, you will have 16 minus 2. And then you will have a squared plus 1 over a squared, which is equal to 16 minus 2 is 14. And that's the answer we are looking for on the second question. So the first question is equal to 16, and then the second question is equal to 14. Let me find out if you all understand that. Otherwise, if you did not understand, I can go through that question again because it's an important question. From these first two questions we have covered, which question did you not understand? Are you all covered on the first and second question?
No, sir, all of
Maybe I
them were not
don't
good.
understand.
They're difficult. Yeah, I know,
Yes.
I know these questions are not straightforward. Let me explain them again nicely, and I will not be rushing anywhere because I'm explaining difficult questions here. So let me explain.
We cannot see the board. It's blurry.
All right. Let me fix that just now. How about now? Can you see the board?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to answer the first question again. Mukundi, she's so quiet today. Is she here? Mukundi, are you with us?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. I just wanted to get that confirmation. So we are on question 3A, which requires us, I'm wrapping these answers here. Let's assume we are starting. We are having this statement here, which say A plus 1 over A is equal to 4. That is a given statement, that A plus 1 over A is equal to 4. And we are required to determine the value of A plus 1 over A all squared. What will that be equal to if we are given that A plus 1 over A is equal to 4? So this is how you get the question, you answer that first question. So we are going to have A plus 1 over A all squared. So already we are given what we have inside the bracket here. Can you tell me what is A plus 1? What is A plus 1 over A according to the information we are given? What is it equal to?
4.
It's equal to 4. So it means where we have A plus 1 over A, we substitute 4. So we substitute 4, and then we're going to have 4 to the power of 2. Is that step clear to all of us? Yes.
Yes.
Where we have A plus 1 over A, we substitute 4. Therefore, we're going to have 4 to the power of 2, of which we know 4 to the power of 2 is equal to what? It's equal to 16. I hope that first question is clear. Is that so?
Yes.
Wonderful. So question number 2, we can't answer question number 2 without using the answer of the first question. So it means these two questions are linked. So how do we find the answer of number 2 from question number 1? So this is what we do. We have to write the expression of the first question, which is A plus 1 over A all squared, which is exactly the same as writing this as A plus 1 over A, and then A plus 1 over A, like this. You expand these two brackets, because the squared we have here, it simply tells us that we can write this bracket as 2 brackets because of the square we have on top there. Are we clear up to that step we have done on second question?
Yes.
Okay, let me explain this again. So in order to answer for the second question, where we are required to find A squared plus 1 over A squared, we have to rely on the answer we obtained from the previous question, where we
Yeah,
are.
why do you have to rely on that answer?
Because I'm very happy that she was able to join. Okay, yeah, Udio is not yet in. Rufuno, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you, sir?
I'm also good. I was worried that you were not able to join because today I'm covering something which is very important here. So I hope these are the questions you're covering from school. So for the sake of you, I'm going to explain these questions again. Even others will be understanding about it, because these are difficult questions. I cannot shy away from that. So I will be explaining these questions slowly. So even for some of you who I explained this previously, it may be sinking in. If I'm explaining one and the same thing time and again, it may sink in your brain. So now, let me explain the first question again for the sake of Rufuno. So Rufuno, this is the first question we are doing on the board, where we are told that if a plus 1 over a is equal to 4, we are required to determine that a plus 1 over a all squared is equal to 1. What will this be equal to if a plus 1 over a is equal to 4? So, and I explain that on this first question here, which is a plus 1 over a all squared, we are required to answer this question by using the information that is given there. Already, we are given the value of a plus 1 over a. So, Rufuno, what is the value of a plus 1 over a from this information given up there?
4.
Is 4. So therefore, where we have a plus 1 over a, we are going to substitute 4. So we will have 4 squared. So we have 4 with a squared. This squared is from the question we are answering. So is 4 squared, which we know that 4 squared is the same as what? Is the same as 16. And that's how we get to the answer of the first question, of which I believe we are now in the same page of how we answered the first question. Is that so? Do you all see how we answered the first question?
Yes.
All right, wonderful. Then now we go to the second question, of which I was explaining that second question relies on the first question. First question relies on the first question. Second question relies on the first question. So without having answered,
Why is it so?
come again.
Why does the second question rely on the first one?
Unfortunately, that's how this question is structured. But I would like to explain a scenario that explain this information. Let's say you want to go to Lois Richard now. Let's say you want to go to Lois Richard now. Tell me, how do you think you can get to Lois Richard? What can you use that can lead you to arrive to the destination? You have to use a car, ne?
Yes.
You will have to use a car in order to arrive to your destination. So without a car, you cannot arrive to your destination. So it's the same situation here. We can say question A is your car. Without having your car, you can't arrive to your destination, which is question number B. So it means this is the catalyst. Question number A is your car, which will lead you to arrive to the destination, which is question number B. I hope that explanation is clear. Otherwise, without having a car, which is question number A, we cannot arrive to the destination, which is question number what? Which is question number B. That's how I can explain that scenario. Otherwise, there is no shortcut on this one. There's no any other way we can arrive to the answer without using a previous question. So it means if we did not get the previous question right, we cannot get the second question right. Let me repeat this statement. If we did not get the first question right, it means we cannot answer the second question correctly. It's like if you did not use a car to get to Lois Richard and you decide to use, let's say, a ship. A ship cannot take you to Lois Richard. Why? Because there's no ocean, there's no big dam which can take you to Lois Richard. So it's the same scenario in this case. So if you don't get the first question right, you cannot get the second question. I hope that you got that explanation right. So,
Yes.
so the basis is that we must get the first question right in order to answer the second question. And let's answer the second question. I already answered that question, but I'm going to answer it again so that you see this clearly. So we have a plus 1 over a squared. That is your first question, of which I know by now we have the value which is equal to what? Which is equal to 16. That is equal to 16. So now we are required to expand the left-hand side of this expression. So let's expand this left-hand side of the expression. So we're going to have a plus 1 over a, and then a plus 1 over a. Why did I have two brackets in this case? Is because of this squared up here. So this squared is simply telling us that this bracket is repeating 2 times. Is that clear?
Yes.
So this bracket is repeating 2 times and is equal to 16. So now the next step is for finding the product. How do we find the product? We have to multiply a with a. So if we multiply a with a, we're going to get a squared. And then we multiply a with 1 over a. Oh, let me do that in detail so that you can see what we are doing here. We are multiplying this a with that first a there. And then again, this first a, it multiplies with the second a. And again here, this is going to multiply with the first a, and then it multiplies with the second term, like that. So let's multiply and see what we get. So we're going to have a into a plus 1 over a, and then plus 1 over a into a plus 1 over a equal to 16. Is finding the product. The principle we used here is what is called finding the product. And then from there, we can then multiply a with a. If we multiply a with a, we're going to get a squared. And then we multiply a with 1 over a. Can any one of you tell me what do we get when we multiply a with 1 over a? What do we get when we multiply a with 1 over a? What will this be equal to?
4.
A multiply. There's no addition here, it's multiplication. So it's, if it was addition, it was going to be equal to 4, but now it's multiplication. So a multiplied by 1 over a. Let me answer this question. So we are just required to cancel this a and a, because the other a is on the denominator, another a is on the numerator. So you just cancel them together and you will be left with this one that we have there. So it's the same thing we do here. So it's going to be plus 1, which comes from the fact that we multiply a with 1 over a, which will give us 1. And that will exactly be the same thing for here, this other question, where we have 1 over a multiplied by a, it will give us a 1 as well. Because a, it will cancel with a, and then we're left with 1. And then plus, here we multiply 1 with 1, which will give us a 1 divided by. Then we multiply a with a, and that will give us a squared. Let me check. All right, Mukundi, she's out. I think it's a network. While she's logging in again, I will be emphasizing what has happened on this question. So we find the product on this question and we obtain this expression that we have here, where the first a is multiplying the second bracket, and then the second 1 over a is multiplying the second bracket. So, and then from there, a and a, when we multiply them together, they're going to give us a squared. And then a times 1 over a, when we multiply them together, they're going to give us a 1. And 1 over a, when we multiply with a, is going to give us a. And then 1 over a, when we multiply with 1 over a, it will give us 1 over a squared. Because 1 times 1 is 1. A times a is a squared, like that. So therefore, this will be equal to, it will be equal to 16, like that. And then from there, we can add the like terms. We can also group the like terms, targeting to get what we are given here. Remember, our target is to obtain a squared, the solution or the value of a squared plus 1 over a squared. So we can group these terms together, which is the first term and the last term. So we group these terms together. A squared plus, Mukundi, we did not go far. In this case, we just multiply this bracket here. We obtain what we have down there, which is equal to 16. And then the next step is just for grouping the like terms. So these and that, we can write them together. And then 1 and 1, we add them together. They're going to give us a 2, of which this must be equal to a 16. Remember our question. Our question requires us to obtain a squared plus 1 over a squared. Therefore, you can take 2 to the other side. So when you take 2 to the other side, it's going to give us a squared plus 1 over a squared, which will be 16. When you take the 2 to the other side, it's going to give you a negative 2. Therefore, you will have a squared plus 1 over a squared, which is equal to 16 minus 2. The answer for that is what? It's 14. Therefore, you will have, yes.
Me, to be honest with you, I still don't understand.
Okay, this especially the second question, eh?
Yes, because I know you said we have to first find the first answer there to answer the second questions. I thought the same answer was going to come out of the second question.
Okay. Is it we now have the solution of that question on the board? We're going to go step by step so that you tell me where you did not understand, and then I explain that part again. So we'll start on this first step here. So the first step is the solution we obtained from the previous question. So a plus 1 over a squared is equal to 16. That's the first step. I believe that step is clear to all of us, ne?
Yes.
Then the second step, second step is for expanding this bracket because we're having a square there. So we can expand and then have 2 brackets like this. Is that step clear?
Yes.
All right. And then the next step is for multiplying these 2 brackets. So in order for us to multiply these 2 brackets, we use a method called finding the product. Let me repeat this. In order for us to multiply these brackets, we use a method called finding the product. And finding the product is what gives us this equation we have up there. So now, let me show you how we got to this equation here. So we got to this equation by multiplying this first A with the second bracket. And then we add and multiply the second 1 over A with the second bracket. So let's see. So the first A we multiply with the second bracket, and then this 1 over 2 on the first bracket we multiply with the whole second bracket, and we obtain this expression, which is equal to 16 on the right hand side. Let me find out if you all understood that step which I explained now for finding the product. Did you all understand that step? Is there any one of you?
Yes.
Is there any one of you who did not understand that step? Maramba, Adi, and Mukundi, did you understand that step?
Mukundi is gone.
Mukundi is not here.
Mukundi is not here. All right. Yeah, I think she may be having a challenge with her network. But fortunately, I'm recording this lesson. immediately after I finish teaching, I'll send the link to him. So now let's check on that first step up there of finding the product. Is it clear to all of us? Do you all see how we find the product on the first, on this first step then of finding the product?
Yeah.
So it's clear to all of us, ne?